Herbert's 100 harem. Derped out and used yesterday's number instead of today's, so had to repost it, sorry. Where is all that going? One of his in-laws asks as Herbert rushes around to get wipes to everyone. There are too many kids for him to take too much a personal touch, but he can play assist to almost all of them at once. Organs! There's a lot more inside a human and human-sired children than most. Liver, kidneys, extra robust and powerful stomach. There is more, but those are the ones that really stand out. What are the ones that have concentrations of unusual chemicals? Where are they? Mid-torso, lower ribcage area? 2 of them? Triangular shaped? Yes. Adrenal glands on top of the kidneys. Perfectly natural and needed. The chemicals in there are helping control metabolism, stress levels, and many, many other things. Those glands are multi-use, but named after their most dramatic effect, which is when high stress causes them to release a combat-grade stimulant. He explains before thinking and grinning. But if you really want to fight a human mean, then aim for them in a fight. A kidney shot is a bitch of a thing to deal with. So humans have the equivalent to multiple crotches? She asks, and Herbert snorts hard. By which I mean areas that are delicate that you need to take care not to damage. Ribcage generally takes care of that, but they're poking out the bottom. Unlike most other races, it's not just there for support and structure. It's also there for protection. There's a lot of squishy things up in there. Heart and lungs, yes, very delicate and important. And the bottom half has all the filtration organs in there. Without that, our blood turns to poison. Really? Yeah, liver and kidneys are important, Herbert explains. That sounds like such a weakness. A nigh-universal weakness without axiom to help. Life makes do if it finds something crucial lacking. Beings adapt, grow, survive, and then thrive. Herbert says not mentioning that he's been caught like a chump in a few fistfights by trying for a kidney or liver, shot by reflex, and coming up with nothing. Funnily enough, the fierce Canador did have the lever weakness and a large kidney over it, so it worked on them. Mostly, but if you were that close to a Canador in a fight, that was generally considered a fuck-up on its own. Generally, he's pulled it off more than once. Those fights are always so damn hectic. He still can't quite pin down if the roars of fury are more like a bear or a great cat, but they're certainly frequent when he needs to throw down. It's still amazing me that anything can live without it. Even the rare animal species that evolves to repel or dispel axiom constructs is reliant upon axiom to survive. It's integral, which is why cruel space is so deadly. You're cut off from what seems to be the source of life itself for your kind, he says. The conversation is old, worn, and rather boring to him now. Most people wax on and on about how dangerous a lack of axiom must be, how stunted, blunted, and blah, blah, blah the lives of those in cruel space must be, and generally it was easiest to just vaguely agree and let them continue on their way. The arguments and lectures are never worth it and rarely stick. What's the weirdest thing you can tell us about? Someone suddenly asks, and he's brought out of his small reverie. Pardon, about what? Well, you're kind of an open secret about being a spy. High-ranking intelligence member, often registered as recovering from field missions. So you get up to all sorts of things, and most of it classified. But what's the weirdest one you're allowed to share? Weirdest? That's actually a tough one, he muses as he mind turns. All right, we're going to need to break that down a bit more. Are we talking disgusting weird, flabbergasting weird, stupid weird, entertaining weird, or exciting weird? What have you been getting up to? A lot. I've been on more than half the spires of Centris. Most of the plates and the things I have found have defied casual description. I consider it a very good mission if I have to outright make up words for my official report and still get the entire point across. Which reminds me of one of my favorites. It's not the weirdest, I've had much weirder, but the Tangasaurus Rex might be one of the better ones. It's a coherent weird. Tanka what? It's a combination of tank, which is an armored combat craft with powerful cannons, combined with a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a very, very large predator that's long extinct on Earth. It's inspired a lot of awe, even if all we have are fossilized bones. Okay? Well, basically the mission involved finding a black market sale of a concerning amount of firepower and the parts needed to make a very dangerous suit of power armor. What I found instead was a club of simultaneously brilliant and stupid children putting together the coolest thing they could imagine together. And while I applaud that kind of industriousness, putting in a basic logic tree ripped from their favorite video game and kit bash to bipedal drone code crossed several lines, and it went on a rampage. End result? I was made an official member of the Awesomeness of Awesome Club and am their deconstruction specialist now. He explains, and there's a pause as people try to imaging thing. And clearly, despite a lack of detail, the image is funny enough for there to be a swell of laughter that spreads as his story gets relayed. He idly wonders what the game of telephone will make the story sound like. Something to ask about tomorrow. Give it time to stew. You may laugh, but it is hard to outrun a giant monster when you're carrying cheering children, proclaiming it as the most awesome thing ever. Okay, yeah, that is funny, he admits with a cheesy smile. All 5 of those little hellions were earmarked for being watched. They were going to be getting job offers the moment they were legally old enough to accept. So how does one deal with a Tangasaurus Rex? Their weakness is the little bitty arms they have. Get on its back and it has few answers, beyond the automatic weapon platforms. But a bit of dodging, and that problem took care of itself. After that, I returned to the freshly scorched area and pried open the back armor to start at the insides. There was nothing with serious access back there, but I could disrupt signals and overload a few systems. After doing that about a dozen times in rapid succession, it lost control of its legs, hit the ground hard, and I was able to get at the central processor, which let me shut it down safely. And what are your duties as the deconstruction specialist of the Awesomeness of Awesome Club? No, it's Awesomeness of Awesome Club. The official registry had them misspell it, and they kept it because they think it looks cool, he says, and there's some helpless giggling at that. Really? Really. Anyways, my job is that I'm basically there when they turn new things on in case they go wrong. The kids aren't using new technology, but are happy to apply it in all sorts of fun ways. For instance, did you know that it is in fact possible to make a laser solid light construct, but extremely unwise? Because I do now. Intimately, he says, and he smiles. Are you going to tell me why it's unwise? Are you going to ask me why it's unwise? He taunts his in-law. Atmospheric pockets, Borisi says as she leans up next to him. He gives her a kiss. Correct. The air around us is not a massive uniform melange of its ingredients. The percentiles fluctuate, sometimes wildly, from place to place. It's why lasers are generally short-range weapons in atmosphere. They hit these pockets and lose most of their energy, either through unexpected resistance or things igniting and the energy getting used up. It apples to laser hard-light constructs. Also, wouldn't it be extremely energy-intensive? Little Wonder's actually pushed it to the point of a null cascade. The oldest is 9. That's an impressive amount of damage for tots, Herbert says. Why would they even think to use lasers? A hologram or hard-light construct is an axiom energy shield that's been repurposed to take on certain colors and textures. No lasers involved anywhere. They heard the term hard light and jumped to conclusions. They then tested those conclusions and went to see if that conclusion could be reached in any way. Not the traditional way to do science, but man, are they learning things. And they're just doing that? You haven't stopped them? Or told their parents? Wards of the state, I have sent in warnings about their behavior. But when I brought up having adult supervision, they then made me the deconstruction specialist, and I became their adult supervision. So what I'm hearing is that you're ready and waiting for your children to grow up and cause all kinds of damage. Yes, I'm ready to run ringmaster on this circus of chaos, he says, and then chuckles. Or chaos to be, as adorable as they are now, I don't think they can cause that kind of mass damage. And you can contain that? I'm getting practice. I may be only one of many, but I'm still at the head of an expanding intelligence division, full of smart, energetic, creative, and reckless people capable of causing mass damage, destruction, and have to be the force of reason and restraint for that. It might not compare to fatherhood, but I'd like to think of it as at least light training for the job. Wait, which one is training for which? Honestly, some days I can't tell myself, Herbert answers. The things me and my fellows get up to are often as bizarre as they are dangerous or important. Granted, That does mean things are a lot of fun. Usually. Usually. Letting someone go for now so they can continue to incriminate themselves and reveal their fellow criminals is infuriating, but it's so satisfying when you can finally nail them for it, he says. Yeah, it had been like Christmas coming early when he finally got that sick, twisted, evil witch. Her and the entire organization of freaks, from the eyes on the street to the money women at the top. All of them had been nailed to the wall and left facing the sun for judgment. Not literally, but with how airtight the case was, they may as well have been. You're looking proud of yourself. I am proud of myself. Unfortunately, most of the courts on Centris work slow, so I am required by law to leave it at that. He says, but the smirk remains. A very faint beeping goes off, and everything starts moving again. After dinner, the babes are each individually checked to see what kind of mood they're in. Some of them are more full of energy than others. The tired ones go to bed early. The energetic ones are allowed to stay up a bit to drain them of their energy, and after about an hour, all the babes are asleep. He ends up in the middle of a large cuddle pile of tired mothers, satisfied wives, and the central figure to this large and growing family. An air of near complete and total contentment in the room, even as he cracks open a technical manual on textiles and making clothing and starts to read. Why are you reading that? One of his wives asks. Oh, this? Well, some of our kids in the future might decide they want this or that for extra limbs, and I can already tell I'm going to be more of an enabler parent than not, so I may as well figure out how to adjust clothing between someone with 2 arms to 4 or 6, how to reshape a shirt to allow wings, and to be frank, I need to rehem all my clothes again. Most everything is too baggy now, again. So do you think you'll be growing larger than our children? Or just a child your whole life? We're looking into aging methods. It would be nice to basically go into a pod, come out an adult. But if I need to be a stream, I go into a matching one and pop out a kid. As a kid, I mean. I'm positive there are some, but with the galactic view on time, it's going to be rare. It's no time at all to actually grow older and up, but you're viewing every single year as a span where innumerable things can happen. It's been almost a year since I left Cruel Space, and innumerable things have happened, including siring over 100 children, the clone mind of a fellow soldier somehow gaining the memories of a dead man whose clone he was in conquering a world while ascending to what by all definitions is godhood and more. The galactic view of things is wrong. Eternities can happen in an instant. Hearing the little boy rant about time does take an eternity. Hey! He protests to the amusement of the room. He huffs a little, but turns back to his book. It also has some interesting points on where and how to make hidden pockets. Always good to have.